and welcome to this episode of Curious Creatures. So this episode we are going to be creating a creature that is inspired by a cassowary, a wild cat, and a capybara that has 6 legs, 5 eyes, long thin ears, that lives on the beach and can change its size. So we've pulled up a few references. So up the top we have our cassowary. Now this is a southern cassowary, which is native to the Papua New Guinea and northern Queensland areas. Now this is a beautiful big bird, one of the largest birds in the world. I think only emus and ostriches are larger. And they are absolutely beautiful. You see that beautiful crest on the top of their head, and they have the most amazing feet with these long 3 digits on their feet. Next, we have a wildcat. Now, this is a Scottish wildcat and a capybara. So, for those who don't know, a capybara is one of the largest rodents in the world. So, think like a giant guinea pig. And it lives in Southern America and is absolutely beautiful creature, and it really enjoys spending time in the water, so it's actually a semi-aquatic animal. So let's get to drawing. Now, as always, we're going to start with a circle for the head. Now, I'm thinking we're going to really use that beautiful neck, that S-curve neck that cassowaries have, because it's a beautiful element. But then maybe we'll go into the body of a cat or a capybara, sort of a bigger, more solid body structure there, and maybe think about using the legs and arms of a cat. So we're going to have these beautiful, more feline type feet, something like that. And we have 6 of them. Oh, so 6 of them. So I think we're going to maybe do 2 a bit further back. So do 2 legs instead of 4 legs and 2 arms. And felines have this beautiful kick to the back of their feet. And we'll do something like that. And then maybe there's another one here. That's our rough block out of maybe the body. And then the tail. Now, obviously, both the cassowary and the capybara have very, very short tails. So I think I want a nice long tail. So I'm going to use the tail of the wildcat. There we go. And now let's just expand this neck, because we've got a very big solid body, so we're going to need a neck that makes sense. Then coming up to this much smaller head, which is more reminiscent of the cassowary. Now, I'm thinking maybe what we'll do is we'll go with the face of a capybara. So rather than putting a beak, we might go for this much more rodent muzzle, which is quite nice and long. And we've got to have long and thin ears, so maybe somewhere between a capybara and a wildcat's ears. So long and thin, maybe something like that. That could be cool. And we have to put in the crest of the cassowary. We have to include that. Such a beautiful element. We need to put that one in. So this is our very, very basic shape, and what I'm just going to do now is we're going to add in the other legs. So the legs on the other side of the body, which we'll only be able to see a little bit of just in the back here. And maybe the front leg is maybe taking a step forward. Maybe something like that. Yeah, I don't know, something like that. We'll see. All right, so that's our basic framework. So now let's start adding in some details. So I'm just going to clean up a little bit of my line work here so you can see what I'm doing. But you do not need to erase your marking lines, you can keep those. I'm just going to do this so you can see it. Alright, and now we're going to come in and refine our shape. So we have a combination of fur and feather that we can utilize. So I'm thinking maybe like the cassowary, we're going to have this beautiful coat of feathers, which almost looks like fur because it's so beautiful and fine. It's going to be this beautiful, beautiful coat here. We'll just run across the back of the neck like that. And maybe we're going to add in this beautiful, beautiful, brightly coloured, not quite sure what it is called, but it's a beautiful skin patterning that they have along their necks, along the cassowary's necks. So we're going to include that one as well. And I'll just run that to just under the chin like that. Just put some little suggestions there to show that it's a slightly different texture. Alright, and then we're going to come into the body. Now we're going to continue running this beautiful feathery or slightly furry coat, yeah, feathery furry coat, and we're going to run it all the way around, and we're probably going to run it a little bit up the tail, but not too far, so it's probably going to come more like a coat, a bit like that. So we have this beautiful coat like this. We'll just add in some sort of extra details like that to give it an idea. And then we're going to come to our tail now. Going to have this beautiful curving tail, and you guys can make this tail as long or as short or as sleek or as bushy as you would like. I think I'm just going to add in a little bit of, I don't know, maybe extra fuzzy bits down the end. It's got a slightly fuzzy end to its tail. Almost a little bit more like a lion's tail, but it's a cat, it counts. And then we're going to come into the legs. So I'm just going to extend the feathers just over the top of the legs like this. So we can see it's a nice big coat. And then we're going to come into the drawing of the legs. Now, if we look at either a wildcat's or a capybara's legs, got very thin, sleek fur on their legs. They're not particularly bushy or anything like that. But when we come down to the actual feet, obviously the capybara, being a rodent, has a lot more almost finger-like digits, whereas the cat has paws. And of course our beautiful cassowary has these incredible claws. So I'm going to go for something sort of somewhere in between, and you can decide to do whatever you want, but I'm thinking I'm going to go probably a little bit more cassowary in the feet, and I'm going to go for the 3 digits because I think they're beautiful, and I'm just going to replicate this across all of the other legs. Just like this. And the same with the front leg. So I want to make sure that they're still furred at the top. I'm not going to go scales. So I still want them to be sort of furred and feathered. But if you want to put in scales or furs or paws or whatever you want, you are more than welcome to do that. Do what inspires you. Now this foot up the front. Because I'm going with more of the suppose I'm actually going to curl them around as if our creature is reaching out to grab something. Something like that. Yeah, very cool. All right, so that's our 6 legs. We have our long and thin ears, but now we've got 5 eyes. 5 eyes. What are we going to do with 5 eyes? Well, I think we're going to have a nice big beautiful eye up here. And then maybe we're going to have maybe smaller eyes coming to the front, and maybe going to have one right at the front like that, just before we get to the nose. So we're going to have these sort of disc of eyes, which is kind of cool. And we are going to add in the nose. Now we're going to, since we've done a capybara muzzle, probably should put in the capybara nose. Give him a little smile there. And I think he should have whiskers. Let's add in some whiskers. Let me just draw the whiskers a little bit better. Nice long whiskers like that, and we just see a little bit of the other side. And maybe some patterns and shapes. So maybe we'll add in some of these little stripes that our wildcat has, some of the beautiful markings and patterns. And then I might add them on the legs as well. So perhaps the overcoat that we have will be maybe black or a single color or mottled color, and then the legs and the limbs and the tails will have some more defined markings like that, which I think is pretty cool. Alrighty, now we are going to go to the beach. Now our creature lives on the beach. So what is beachy? Well, we are going to need some sand. So I'm just going to put some little dots here to show you some of the sand. A bit like this. And I think both the cassowary and the capybara, well, the capybara likes swimming. I'm not sure if that lives near beaches, but the cassowary definitely visits beaches. The wildcat, particularly the Scottish one, I don't believe does, but it might go down to the occasional loch and have a drink at least, if not a swim. And maybe some water. So let's just put some, maybe we're going to have some beautiful waves. Maybe we're walking along the beach front like this, and we're going to have the waves kind of rolling in, maybe lapping at the shore. So they're not going to be big waves, they're just going to be sort of nice little wavelets coming into sand. And we can change size. Now I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this. Here's an idea. Maybe we can get a lot bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw maybe like a projection, and almost like it's a shadow. So maybe our creature has shrunk back to size, or to the size that we can see. So I'm just going to draw like a very loose outline. You can see I'm running out of space, to say that maybe he's actually, or maybe our creature has actually shrunken size and changed shape. Now please have a think about any other way that you want to show this. You might want to draw a couple of them, maybe mid-change or mid-size. And think about all the different ways that we could show that this creature changes size. So I'll be very excited to see what you guys can come up with. All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I really like this creature. I think there's a lot of fun design elements we can play with here. So I'm very excited to see what you do. Get inspired and come up with your ideas, and please send them through. I can't wait to see what you come up with.